All right, Rosh Chodesh Sameach. All right, yeah. All right, welcome to our Rosh Chodesh service. All right, for the month of Sivan. Okay, which means that we're just a couple of days away from Shavuot. All right. Okay, so for those of you that are joining us, we're going to do a couple of things here. First of all, we're going to start off with our Rosh Chodesh service, which is very short. We're going to follow along with the words on the screen, as everybody should be reading along the words on the screen, except for that one part where I'll officially announce the new moon, the new month. Then I'll do some quick announcements, and then we'll go into, I don't know, whatever we go into. Okay? Whatever comes to mind by the time we get there. It's usually something that helps get you refocused and encouraged or smacked or whatever you need at the moment. Okay? All right. So if you'll all rise, we'll begin with the sounding of the silver trumpet. Amen, amen. All right, so we're going to read off the screen together. All right, from Psalm 51 to verse 15. Yahweh sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Yahweh, open my lips, that my mouth declare your praise. May the expressions of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, Yahweh, my rock and my redeemer. Also in the day of your gladness and in your appointed times, and in the beginnings of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Kedushat Levanah, the sanctification of the new moon. O Yahweh, our Elohim, and Elohim of our fathers, make this coming month one of good and blessing. Grant us long life, a life of peace, of good, of blessing, of sustenance, of vigor. A life marked by a reverence for you and a dread of sin. A life free from shame and reproach, a life of prosperity and honor. A life in which love of the living Torah and the fear of Elohim animates us. A life in which our heartfelt desires are fulfilled for good. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Amen. He who performed miracles for our fathers and liberated them from slavery to freedom, may he quickly liberate us and gather our exiles from the four corners of the earth, and let us say, Amen. All right, the new moon of the month of Sivan is today. May it prove to be good and fruitful for all 12 tribes of Yisrael. May the set-apart one, blessed be he, grant this Rosh Chodesh to us and to all his people, for life and peace, for gladness and joy, for deliverance and consolation, and let us say, Amen. Together, blessed, praised, glorified, honored, and exalted be the name of the King of Kings, the set-apart one, blessed be he, who is the first and the last, and beside him there is no Elohim. Extol him in the heavens, Yahweh is his name. Rejoice before his face, his name is honored beyond all blessing and praise. Blessed be his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever. Let the name of Yahweh be blessed forever and ever. Okay, from Isaiah 66, verses 22 to 23. For as the new heavens and the new earth that I make stand before me, declares Yahweh, so your seed and your name shall stand. And it shall be that from Rosh Chodesh to Rosh Chodesh, and from Shabbat to Shabbat, all flesh shall come to worship before me, declares Yahweh. Amen. You tried to sneak an extra one in earlier. Okay. Well, we're used to saying amen at different places, I suppose. All right, you all may be seated. All right. So because I do have some people watching, and this may not be their normal time to see us, or they haven't seen us before type of thing, just a reminder about the announcements. And by the way, I really would like to believe that everybody actually listens to the announcements so that they don't act like when I say, well, see you tonight, and they're like, why, what's tonight? Rosh Chodesh. All right. So, or see you Friday. What's Friday, Okay, so just, whatever's coming up, you should kind of have an idea because we do announce these things. So I do want to welcome any guests that may be over online watching, and I'm just going to go through some quick highlights here. I'm not going to give you the full-blown announcements. All right, we do produce and put out there for you guys a Friday night Torah study and a Shabbat service live here on YouTube. Okay, and so you can watch those. A note about Torah studies on Friday night. So there will not be one this Friday night, because it's Shavuot. Okay, so we're going to have a Shavuot service here at the normal services time at 1 o'clock, right? But then we're not going to have the Friday night Torah study. Now, we're not skipping Torah portions. That was already planned not to be done this week. So the next one that we will be doing will come the following week. Now, the next 2 weeks after that, the 29th and the 5th, okay, we will not be doing anything here live. We will be posting a YouTube post and links and things like that in our other platforms where we post things that tell you, or at least give you the links to older of those versions of the Torah portions, like those same Torah portions from last year, the year before, whatever. We'll have Brianna go ahead and post that for you, or you could just look it up yourself. Just go to the MTOI YouTube channel and just look up those Torah portions as you go back a little bit more, okay? Now, that being said, because I will not be here. I will be on vacation. Okay, so I'll be gone for a little bit, and I'll be back. Now, so for all of you, this is the important thing. Don't come here that Friday. There won't be anybody here, okay? On Friday the 29th or on June the 5th, okay, there will be nobody here. All right. But I do still want you to do the Torah studies. Now, maybe also a good week, and we kind of can mention this when we get to the extensions, but, we do have a Zone 2 and a Zone 3 Torah study. So maybe a good week for you to tie in with one of theirs. Okay, and see what they do. All right, because they will be doing it maybe not at the most convenient hours for you, and we'll talk about that when we get to that part of the announcements. But just that's something to think about. All right, we do have a children's program called MTOI Parsha Pearls. Okay, and you can find all that information on the mtoi.org page. Okay, so you can go there and look at that. If you want the full announcements with all the details, you're always welcome to go back and watch any live stream and go to right before the teaching, and that's when the announcements are, okay? Okay, we got the Parsha schedule. So if you want to know where we are on the Parsha schedule, if you look at it, you'll see there is nothing scheduled for the 22nd, okay? And so you can look at that. We have a Torah Teens program on Zoom, okay, every Thursday at 1 o'clock with Rabbi Tom, and then on Saturday, we also have a Torah Teens class during the time that the teaching is going on, okay? And when we dismiss the children, after we put them under the chuppah and bless them, so if you're watching the live stream, right after that, we're going to send the children to that class, okay? So you can go ahead and use the same link to that, which is at TorahTime@mtoi.org. If you send us an email, you'll get the link. TorahTime@mtoi.org, and you'll get the link, okay? There are no classes for that Saturday class when there's a zone meeting weekend. And we'll talk about zone meetings in a little bit. Just keep that in mind, that when there's a zone meeting weekend, there won't be a Gadol class, a Torah Teens class. All right? All right, now, audio scripture readings. If you like to hear the word read, we have those on our website, so you can go ahead and listen to everything from Genesis to Revelation. Our own Shira Wendling has recorded those for you. Okay, we do post on YouTube and Rumble Wednesdays, the full teaching. Now, when I say full teaching, it could be from a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so it's taken us a little while to catch up on all the teachings. Because, why? Because there are extra teachings during feasts. And so it takes a little bit to get caught up, right? So we're a couple of weeks behind, so to speak, on what you want to hear live. So if you're listening to live part 10, like this weekend, and you want to hear part 9, well, you're not going to see it posted for a little while. You have to go back to the live teaching from the week before, right? So you just kind of can do it that way. Okay, let's see. So Thursday, we put the afterburn on YouTube. Okay, that's the afterburn from the full teaching. So that's the Q&A from right after the teaching. That was the same one we did on Wednesday. Friday is the In Focus. All right, and that can come from any teaching. It's just a short little hold its own sort of pull out from a teaching that covered some sort of a topic that you can just pop out 8-10 minutes long type of thing. Let's see. Sunday, the praise team set from the previous Shabbat is posted. Okay, so on Sundays we do post the praise music, so that's cool. I like to listen to those Saturday morning when I'm getting ready to come here, for Shabbat. I just put that on from the previous week. Okay, let's see. And then there are YouTube shorts that are posted daily throughout the week. All right, we got that. On social media, we are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So on Facebook, we're MTOI Worldwide. On Instagram, MTOI_worldwide. The same thing on TikTok, MTOI_worldwide. On Facebook, we do have a page, all right? We did kind of almost get the group back, and then I actually made a decision today in a leadership meeting just to kill that, because we didn't really use it, for anything. And most people are just using the page now, and we haven't really used it in 2 years since it got hacked. So we're not, that doesn't affect you, because I told all of you to get out of that group anyway 2 years ago. And when we looked at the group, now that we got it back, we realized not all of you listened. Okay, anyway, still in the group. All right, let's see, where am I up to here? We have the MTOI app, okay, which is now available. All right, it's been available for a while now, so I shouldn't say just now available. Okay, we got over 9,500 downloads, which is, I'm only pointing out there to show that this is more likely your community. When you look at the MTOI channel and you see 50,000 subscribers, that's a pretty impressive number, I suppose. I mean, for people that don't put cats in our video. But, it's a pretty impressive number. But yet, a lot of people hit the subscription and then never came back. Okay, but we have 9,500 people that decided to actually download the app. I think that's a better representation of people that may be more actually committed and, a part of the community we have. So that's kind of exciting, right? Okay. Please, no unsolicited messaging. Okay, I hate to mention that there's messaging as a possibility with the thing, because then everybody's going to go out there and try it. Don't try it. Don't message anybody. There's so many other ways to talk to people. Please don't use our app to try to, a lot of the guys are already hitting on the ladies and trying to contact people. You got to knock it off. If I hear about it, it's going to be a problem. Let's not do that, especially the leadership. Okay, so by the way, it's not that if you message me, which lots of people do, I won't see it maybe ever, and if I do see it, it might be months after you did it, because I never check the messages in the app, okay? So don't get mad at me if you message me and I didn't respond. It's not the right way to reach me. I am very reachable. Call the office here, send an email to admin@mtoi.org, and you can get, to Elder, and Elder will get you to me. Okay, very, very doable. Matter of fact, it could be if I'm walking in the office where the reception area is, which happened the other day, phone call came in, somebody had a quick question, so I just went over and took the phone. So it could be that quick. All right, just depends on the situation. Or you can call in and I'm available, and they'll just patch you through until you get to me. Don't use the app to do this, okay? The app, though, does have messaging from the leadership on Friday nights wishing you Shabbat Shalom, and it is for emergencies to send a push notification to say, hey, this horrible thing is happening. You need to know X, Y, or Z, whatever it is, right? So this is a way for us to reach everybody if there's something we need to reach you about. Okay, now I do send out, just to keep that system open and going, a good greeting Shabbat Shalom message Friday nights. Usually 8 o'clock Eastern time, you should get a message. Not always from me. Lately they've been from me because I've been doing it for the Omer count, and also I can't find the folder where I have the messages from all the other leadership since we moved from the other building. So until I find the folder, you're going to keep getting them from me for right now. The other thing I wanted to say about that with the messages and the idea of push notifications, I might send one out, for example, to wish everybody a Rosh Chodesh Sameach. I might, which I did not do today, but that's something you might get sometimes. I may send something out for Shavuot. I certainly will be sending something to remind everybody that there is no Torah study. See, that's the kind of thing you might get a notification just to remind you. So look for those things and activate notifications on your phone so that you can get those notifications. I think we have a slide for that. Do we have that still? There you go. So if you go in the app, you click on your account. Inside the app, go to the app settings and make sure that your general notifications is on. Okay? For most of you, that should be the only choice. We do have a praise team group. If you're not in it, you wouldn't have that choice on your phone. Okay? Okay, so those, I think, are the only two groups we have, actually, on the app. All right? All right. And so come 8 o'clock Friday nights, if you're not getting the messages, then just try to figure out what's going on with your phone. Sometimes it works for a while, then stops working. You may need to just re-download the app, that kind of thing. It's not a big deal. All right, zone meetings. So I've broken the world up into sections of time zones. Okay, there are 3 of them. So the whole world breaks down into 3 ranges of time zones. Okay, about 8 hours of time zones per section, so to speak. All right, although a bunch of them kind of just in the middle of the ocean, so we don't really worry about those. So what we want to do is I want to meet with people when it's Shabbat where they are and they can ask me questions. Okay, so once a month we do this. So zone 3 is the furthest from where I am right now. That would be like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, China, parts of India, anything in that range of time zones. If I don't name the country, it's not the point. It's right. It's in that range of time zones. Are in zone 3. Those are on Friday nights, once a month, usually the first Friday of the month, but because I'm going to be away, it'll be the second Friday of June, June the 12th. So kind of keep that in mind. Make sure you make that adjustment. A lot of you are going to be sitting there going, why aren't they letting me in the room? And you'll be there on June 5th because it's not open on June 5th. I reminded all the leaders today in the leadership meeting to make sure that they conveyed that to their groups. All right. So this is at 10 o'clock Eastern time here on a Friday night, so Friday, June 12th. All right, it's a chance for the people to come and ask me questions. Now, you do this through Zoom, so the link that you need is from zoom@mtoi.org. Send an email, it's an autoresponder, so you don't have to ask for the link or anything. Just send an email to zoom@mtoi.org and you'll get the link, okay? Actually, you're going to get 3 links, and I'll explain the other 2 links as we go down the road here. All right, Zone 2. All right, so this is like the UK, Europe, and Africa. Okay, so everything in that range of time zones, you know, going as far east as like partway through India, okay? And so that would be on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Okay, Saturday morning on June the 13th at 10 a.m. Usually, like I said, it would be the first weekend of the month, but in this case, it will be on the 13th. All right, same way, the same email thing. That one zone email is good for all zones, okay? Then zone 1, okay, this is U.S., Canada, Mexico, South Central America, all the islands that would be connected in terms of the same range of time zones. And this is such a big group that we do alternate between the local people here asking the questions and the people that are not locally here asking the questions, which includes, let me just remind certain people, which includes people that are here visiting extensively that don't stay home just so you could do it online. Just, unless you want to have me relentlessly pick on you after that, okay? So that's for zone 1, all right? So zone 1. This is also, for those of you that aren't here, done on Zoom. Okay, so if you live in the U.S., Canada, Mexico, wherever, and you're not here locally, you would be able to go on through the Zoom and then come into the room, and we'll still do it. Now, this is done during the live service, the regular Shabbat service during the teaching time. Instead of the teaching time, this is the teaching. Okay, the live Q&A. Okay? All right. So, if you have any questions, we'd like you to ask them at the zone meetings or to call us and make appointments and all that kind of stuff. If you're too shy to do that, you can send an email through the Contact Us page or an email to questions@mtoi.org and ask a question. All right? So you could get questions answered that way. All right. What else we got here? Omer Count Challenge. Okay, we're just about done with the Omer Count. Just a couple of more days. We are in the last of the 7 areas of life transformation, which is community well-being. Okay, we might talk a little bit about that during the Rosh Chodesh teaching coming, okay, or whatever it is that I do, you know, motivationally here for Rosh Chodesh. Hope you're all doing the challenge. And I think we'll just talk more about it when we get to the Rosh Chodesh. Okay, so, but that is only a couple of days more. We'll finish, obviously, on Thursday, with Friday being Shavuot. Then we have the Shavuot. Trying to keep this in date order. I don't know what order they put the slides in. Okay, so Shavuot, it's Friday. We're doing it just like a normal service as far as you're concerned. What we do is, I'm not sure how we're going to handle the teaching time yet. I got some ideas of what I want to do. But you'll be here at 1. We'll start at 1:15. You can get here as early as 12:30. Right? We'll start at 1:15. We go our normal length of service, and then we will be going and having oneg at the Dalton Pike location. Right? So you can still bring your stuff, drop it off there like you normally would between, I think, 11:45 and 12:45 or something like that. And then you could do, is that right? Okay. And then you would come over here for the service. Okay? Now, because it's Shavuot, bear in mind that we have back-to-back Shabbats. There's some rules that are different about holy days and Shabbat. So on Shavuot, you can cook. Okay? You can cook on holy days. A little challenging, though, if the holy day falls on a Saturday. We've talked about that in the past. But this is a holy day, so you can cook on that Friday. However, people have asked this question. Well, can I, what do I do for Shabbat? Well, make enough on Shavuot that you have leftovers. Don't make something separate, because I don't have you, when you cook on a holy day, it's supposed to be just for the holy day. But if you happen to make a lot, you have leftovers. And that's fine, okay? We're not making a separate meal for Shabbat. Okay, you want to make a separate meal for Shabbat? Make it Thursday. Put that in the refrigerator. Okay, then all you have to do is warm it up, all right? But Friday, whatever you cook is for Friday. Unless it's leftovers after that, then you can have that, okay? Because that was the intention was that you made it for the holy day. All right. Let me just see. Okay, for the onegs that we're doing, it's going to be just like we do every week, right? It's bring your own food. We're not supplying any of that stuff. We're doing it the same normal picnic style. If you want to get together with some people like you already do maybe, and you kind of bring food and share together, 2 or 3 families, whatever, you can still do that. Just understand that we're not doing a registration. We're not providing meals. We're not doing any of that stuff for the Shavuot weekend. But Shavuot's Friday, Shabbat's Saturday, and then Sunday we're doing a picnic. Okay, picnic and mikvah on Sunday at Chester Frost Park, and we will have some directions on the back table that you can grab on Friday and Saturday to make sure you have those directions if you don't know where you're going. Okay, you can just look up Chester Frost Park, and that'll be fine. It is a dry park, no alcohol. I don't know why I have to say that, but I guess I do. They will catch you, and they will throw you out and confiscate your stuff. We've seen them do it. Not necessarily with anybody in our groups, but we've seen them do it, okay? Just so you know. All right, then May 25th, the office is closed for Memorial Day. So no things are going to be administratively going on here on Monday, the 25th. Okay, let's see, what else? Now we go to leadership. We had a great leadership meeting today, okay? All right, we had over 30, was it 35? That's the number I saw. 35 leaders in the meeting today from all around the world. Okay, and we still were missing 1 or 2, so there could have been more. And the meeting went very well. We got to have the leaders meet our new German extension. Okay? They represent MTOI Germany. MTOI Germany. They just pronounce the I as an E, so I have to pick on them. Okay? MTOI Germany. Actually, they only did it once today in the meeting, and so I only had to fix it once. And so that's going to be officially launching here very soon, so we're very excited about that. Okay, so the next leader meeting will be on June the 14th. All right, there it was on the screen. You have that on June the 14th. I'm telling you guys about it just so that you can pray about it. You should be praying for your leadership and praying for these meetings as we strive to work together to serve you as effectively as we can. All right? Okay, and then there is our next Rosh Chodesh. Well, we should be telling you when the next one is from this one, for Harivi'i, which will be on Tuesday the 16th, all right? Tuesday, June the 16th. Just like now, we'll meet at 7 o'clock and then have dessert afterwards, okay? All right, MTOI extensions. Okay, we have extension congregations. We've been talking about that a little bit. and we're very excited about their growing. Okay, there's a lot of growth that we're hearing as we talk to the leaders in these extensions. And so a lot of people are finding us and then finding them and starting to attend. The extensions, I'm going to give them to you by zone, okay? So in zone 1, these are extension congregations. I see the problem. Somebody did mention in the leadership meeting that it's hard to see the white on the kind of yellowish light background. So I may fix that to make it black so we can read it better. So I'll fix the slides. All right. Now, the extensions are literally that. They're not independent, separate congregations that just do what they want and happen to like us a little bit. Okay, they are MTOI. I mean, if you were to attend one, you should get, with some cultural differences, but you should get pretty much what you get here. Okay? Now, so here's the ones in the U.S. In Zone 1, Byron, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, Grand Island, Nebraska, Alamogordo, New Mexico, Urbana, Ohio, Houston, and Odessa, Texas, and a regional coordinator in Canada. All right, we don't have a congregation up there, but we do have a gentleman that has been working with us for a long time, representing us in Canada. Okay, we do own some of the buildings here. Some of these people meet in houses. Some of them meet outside the house. We're always moving them out, okay, because people are much more comfortable coming to an out location than an inside someone's house location. So we do own Urbana and Odessa's buildings, okay, so those two buildings, and the one here, obviously. All right, Zone 1 pictures, okay, and we're going to be getting new ones with just a more headshots, kind of like you'll see with Dan and Alamogordo and Cliff in Houston, so you can kind of see them a little better. Okay, so I'm asking them for new pictures. We're going to change the slide. But for right now, let's start at the logo, the MTOI logo, and we'll start going clockwise with Shamish, Gary, and then Walter and Joe all in Urbana. Then coming down, we've got Chris in Baltimore, we've got Dan in Alamogordo, Mike in Alamogordo, Cliff in Houston, Gabriel in Odessa, Mark in Nebraska, Dell in Georgia, and Shamish Arthur in Canada. Okay, and then Zone 2. All right, in the UK, we've got a group that meets north and south of London. In the south, they're in Surrey. In the north, they're in Bicester. Okay, that's kind of an every other week kind of deal. And then if we go down to Germany, will fit in there next. Okay, we don't have them on the slide yet. And then we drop down to Africa. We've got one in Windhoek, Namibia. Namibia is just north of South Africa, so on the west coast. And then you have in South Africa 7 congregations, 7 extensions. Okay, so we got 3 in the Western Cape, Somerset West, Sedgefield, and Oatswarn. Okay, and then we got 2 in the Northern Cape, Dar and Uppington, and then Gauteng, we've got one in Pretoria, and then in Limpopo, we got one in Zanin. All right, here's some pictures. All right, going around from the top, Shamish Grayson in Somerset West, Peter John in Pretoria, Dion in Dar, Skok in Oatswarren, Jurgen in Uppington, Gerard in Zanin, let's see, Johan in Sedgefield, Jose in the UK, Timmy in Namibia, and Bernard in Somerset West. Skok was one of the ones that was missing today. All right. We'll pick on him later. All right, Zone 3. All right, we have a regional coordinator in Australia. We got 2 in New Zealand, okay, one in Auckland, one in Wellington. The Auckland one meets once a month. The Wellington one meets every week. And then in the Philippines, we have 2, one in Davao and one in Manila. So unless I said otherwise, every one of these groups meets every week, okay? And for the most part, Friday nights and Saturdays. Okay, you have a lot of that. All right, now, here's the pictures. Okay, Shamish June is in Manila. Dale is our coordinator in Australia. Then we have Mark in Wellington, Joe Ellie in Auckland, Alden in Davao, and Jet in Manila. All right. Okay, so that's your extensions. Now, those extensions, or at least the zones, do have Shabbat services that you can attend and Friday night Torah studies. Okay, so in Zone 2, we have it hosted out of South Africa. Okay, and this is on Zoom, and the way you get the link, remember I said there was 3 links in that Zoom at mtoi.org? This is where you get the other 2 links for, right? The first one was for the zone meetings. Second one is for the Zoom for Zone 2 services, and the last one will be for Zone 3 services. So this is out of South Africa. So all these times are South Africa time. Look for Cape Town on your, when you look up the times and things. Okay, based on their time. Erev Shabbat, Friday nights at 6:15, Torah study 7:15, and Shabbat, Saturdays at 1. Okay, and then we have Zone 3. All right, Zone 3 is out of the Philippines, out of Manila. Friday nights at 7, Saturdays at 1. Okay, and so first link that you will have gotten in your email, Zone meeting. Second one, Zone 2 Shabbats. And then the third one, Zone 3 Shabbats. All right, level up class. Oh, you guys need to do this. All right, this is, actually, we'll talk probably a little bit more about this in the Rosh Chodesh to some degree. All right, so skip that. And then Wealth Development Club. Okay, the next one for that will be on Sunday, June the 14th. Same day as leadership. We're doing it at 10 in the morning, and we'll be finished by 12, so I could be in the leadership at 12, okay? So it'll be 2 hours, and we'll be meeting at Dalton Pike. And as far as wealth development, this is for those of you that actually have risk capital. You have money that you can put at risk to try to use it to increase your wealth, all right? So if you're still trying to get out of debt, pay your bills, struggling to have, more money at the end of the month and month at the end of the money, you're not ready for this. Okay, this is not about that. We've got already classes for that. I've got money mastery class. Elders got a class on our website. I mean, there's a million classes you go out online and take from anybody, okay? This is the next level, all right? After you've done the basics, the baby steps, as Dave Ramsey would call them, okay? So you've already gotten your debt under control. You've already gotten your $1,000. I think now it needs to be $2,000, things inflation. Okay, $2,000 emergency fund. And then you start developing your 3 to 6 months income replacement. Then you can start thinking about this. By the way, this is covered in the Level Up class. Okay? So when we talk about leveling up your finance. All right. And then lastly, a reminder that reception, marketplace, and administrative things like that you might need to come in for are still happening at Dalton Pike, not here, okay? Only things happening here are services, Rosh Chodesh, holy days, okay? Those are the things that are here, Torah studies, things that happen in this room, all right? So if you're meeting with me, it's going to be over there. If you're meeting with Elder, it's going to be over there, okay? Any kind of counseling, it's still going to be over there. All right, that's it for this. Now, I'm going to have a sip of water, and then we'll see what kind of trouble we can get in. Lots of trouble? I think Michael was saying he's all trouble. That's not what he said, but okay. All right. So, first of all, I want to be nice. I want to be encouraging. I want to start with you're in the right place. I think you're in the right place. Okay, well, I don't mean like my congregation. I think you're in the right place, meaning you have set your feet on a path towards truth and towards walking out with integrity and doing what is pleasing the side of the Master, the side of the Creator, the side of the Father. Okay? So you're in the right place. And, you've got, at least to some degree, the right focus because you want to do those things. And when I say to some degree, because I think your focus is split too often. You don't maintain focus on the things that you need to do. Now, by the way, just so we're clear, you need to focus really very, laser-like on everything that you do. But this is an interesting sort of thing that hovers around everything you do. So what you do in the framework or context of pleasing the Father. Okay? So what you do for your financial or your health or your mental or emotional states or your relationships, those all require focus. But there's an over-encompassing, there's like this layer over all of that of making sure we're doing it in the framework of Him. Is the way I'm handling this area of my life pleasing to Him? And I think you're in the right place to learn that kind of stuff, okay? Now, second thing I want to say, encouraging, is you can do this. You absolutely can do this. Well, how do you know that, Rabbi? Because He wouldn't have given this to you to tease you. He wouldn't have inspired you to do this if you couldn't do this. Now, Third thing I want to say as we start to get less encouraging is that he never said it would be easy. I said you can do it. I didn't say it would be easy to do. By the way, he never said that either. Okay? You know, I beg your pardon, he never promised you a rose garden, okay? There's things that you have to do that are hard to do, that are challenging. That's where growth comes from, okay? But you can do this. If you're listening to me, at least to some degree, I get the sense that you want to do this. Otherwise, why would you waste your time listening, okay? You'd be doing something else other than sitting here or watching me online. So you want to do this. And I want to tell you, you can do this. The question mark, though, is will you do this? Or for how long will you do this? Will you grow weary in so doing? Will you give up? Will you find it too hard? Reality check. You're free to choose in life at any moment, A or B or C or D or whatever. Just do you understand that if you follow out almost every choice you make, ultimately, it's hard? If you have two choices to do, and one is easier right now, ultimately it may be making your life harder than the harder one if you did it right now. Do you understand? Stop thinking that I'm avoiding the hard because there's an easier way. If you're being honest, okay, maybe that's what we need to talk about tonight. Are you going to be honest with yourselves? Maybe that's what we need to talk about. Again, I never know till I start moving my mouth, okay, what we're going to talk about, so maybe that's it. If you're being honest, okay, I mean, seriously, are you being honest? How much are you avoiding doing the hard things because you're choosing the easy path? If you're being honest, that's the question I wanted to ask because I got distracted with the other comment. How much of your suffering right now is because you took an easy path? How much of your suffering right now is because you avoided the hard path? You avoided the hard choices. You avoided the hard decisions. You avoided the hard effort. How much? I mean, you should be asking that question because some of you right now are getting to the age where your finances are killing you. Well, but you made choices that put you there. It was hard to say no when you had a credit card you could use. It was hard to say no when everybody around you had the thing you wanted and you didn't have it. It was hard to get up and get a second or third job and pay your bills and get out of it. It was hard. I can keep going on and on and on. So you chose what was at the time, perceived to be easier route, right? But let's be honest. Was it really easier? Well, at the time, sure. But it made your life harder. It didn't get you the results you ultimately wanted. Short term, maybe, I've said this so many times, but it's one of the most beautiful things that was profound. Every now and then you get these moments that are just really profound. It's a really simple thing, one sentence, all right? But I was back in the 80s, into the 90s, a multi-level marketing pitch, okay? Actually, it wasn't the pitch. It was really a conference with people already in. And they brought in a guest speaker, a motivational development speaker, right? And the speaker said this one profound thing, and that was that most people do not have what they want in life because they're busy getting what they want right now. Because what you want in life is to retire nice, have your older age be this, that, or the other thing, or whatever. But you're too busy getting what you want right now, which derails getting what you want later. I never forgot that. I don't remember anything else from that conference. Okay? Not a single thing. I also remember getting a newsletter in the mail, again, for the same idea, the guys in multi-level things and making money, whatever. One article, I didn't read the article. I don't even remember the article. I remember the headline of the article. Actually, I remember one point and the question. The question on the headline of the article was, why aren't you a millionaire? Number one reason why you're not a millionaire. You know what the number one reason for most people why they're not millionaires? They never chose it as a goal. They never could see themselves getting there. It's not because it's so hard to do, because it's not. No, it is hard to do, But it's not like impossible for you. If you're young enough and you put the effort in, you can get there. But the thing is, it was the profoundness of the statement that you have to choose the destination called millionaire. Now, I'm not here to promote money. You want to be healthy? Choose it as a destination. Don't just say, oh, I'd like to get healthy. I'd like to lose a few pounds. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do... That's not the same thing. When the people that you are impressed with, that have what you don't have, that you want, they decided they were going to have it and were willing to do whatever it took to get there in appropriate manners, okay? Because most people get to these places without doing harm to others or breaking laws or whatever. But I'm saying is, saying I'd like to, you might as well keep your mouth shut. There's no point to that. I'd like to go visit this place someday. I'd like to do this. Well, who cares? I'm going to is a whole different thing. Because then you start doing things to make that happen. Okay, so now let's bring this into this walk. I'd like to be in the kingdom. See, this again, being honest with yourself. Are you in that I'd like to or I'm going to? I need to. I mean, I'm just, be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell me. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. My job is to inspire you. Your job is to do whatever you want with that, okay? But is it I'd like to? I'd like to be in the kingdom. Some of you are worse than that. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can make it. I already disappointed him too much. Well, knock that nonsense off. He didn't call you because you can't. He also didn't call you because you would. He called you because you could, because you can. Whether you do or not, that's still in your hands. But it's going to take a level of heart, of commitment. When I say heart, we use that term in sports. When you watch the team that's getting their you-know-what handed to them, and they still get up and they go, and they still get up and play again, and they still keep going, we call that heart, right? Sometimes it's like Rocky in the first movie. Every time he got pounded, he got back up. And they're like, man, that man's got heart. Okay? I'm not talking about an emotion. I'm not talking about love. I'm talking about having the ability to just keep getting back up and not quitting. But you got to have heart. You know, we're all impressed watching Rocky get up, you know. It's dark outside still, and he's out there running. And then you see the sun come up. But he's out there running before the sun even comes up. Then he's eating a blender full of just raw eggs. Now, I'm not recommending you do that. I'm just saying but there may be stuff that you need to be doing that makes your face do the same thing you just did thinking about him eating the raw eggs. There's stuff that you may not find palatable that you need to do. But you need to do it. There may be stuff that you don't find palatable to stop doing, but you need to stop. But do you have the heart? See, but the whole thing is, are you being honest with yourself? So a lot of you watching, and almost everybody in the room, all moved here to be here. And I am very pleased to see there's more of you here than there would be normally on a Friday night, although I don't know why. I don't know, well, it's Rosh Chodesh. Well, Rosh Chodesh is not even a commanded assembly. I mean, so, you know. Oh, Michael pointed out, it's because there's going to be food. There's food in your house. Same food you brought here started in your house. So I don't think that's it. It's your arbitrary decision to do or not do what you think you want to do or not do or willing to do or not do. And by the way, I talked to all the leaders today. Same problem where they are. I got leaders saying, yeah, Friday night, 2 people show up. Now, 2 is not so bad when you consider any different than when we have 25 people show up. We have 25 out of 200. They've got 2 out of 30. You know. But some of you are like, but we're watching online. You could have done that where you used to live. I just don't, what was the point? You didn't come here because the jobs were better. There's no way you came here because the jobs were better. You certainly didn't come here because of, all of the amenities of this area that you might have had in some of the nice cities you lived in or whatever. Or, I don't know about nice, but all the things that a big city might have. You came here, this is where you have to be honest. You said to yourself and to everybody around you, you came here to be a part of this. Then where are you? Are we being honest? And again, some of you may say, well, Rabbi, why do you keep picking on this? Because you got to really hear this. I don't care if there's nobody in the room. It affects me zero. It affects you when you're not together. Don't tell me that for most of you, when you come here and you get to spend time with each other, you don't go home feeling better. You don't get a positive. I know sometimes things go a little sideways with personalities and things, but in general, you get something out of the time you spend with each other, because he says to love one another. That's a commandment. It's one of the 2 great commandments. And part of the reason that person went home feeling good is because you showed up and you helped them feel that way. And part of the reason you went home feeling that way is because they showed up and you feel that way. If you don't show up, somebody's missing out on the other half of that equation. But I don't know, are we serious? That's part of what I was talking to the leaders. We're talking about, sort of the idea of the remnant. We're talking about the people's commitments and seriousness to this. And I don't know if it comes across wrong. And some of you are like, man, we're so tired of you, Rabbi, saying the same stuff. Well, I'm tired of you guys not listening. So we're on the same page. It's like the joke I told you about the rabbi gave the same sermon 4 weeks in a row. And they finally came up to him and said, Rabbi, we're a little concerned. You gave the same sermon 4 weeks in a row. He says, sure. When you start doing it, I'll stop saying it. And some of you in the room are thinking, well, I'm not doing that problem. Well, good. Then be glad I'm saying it for the other people that need it. Because some of you are like, well, I don't need to keep hearing this. Stop being so selfish. Be happy you don't need it. If you're the one that doesn't need it, good. But you should be able to notice around you other people need it. Okay? But notice I started off with, you can do this if you choose to. He called you to something you can do. He never said it would be easy. We're told to carry our own stake, right? It talks about bearing one another's burdens. Let's just focus on the idea of burden. Forget about the bearing one another's thing. We can get all into what that's really talking about. Just the idea that he calls what we carry around with us burdens. Anybody feel weighed down by life and situations and stuff going on? All of us, okay? Well, you know what? Not all of us. There are some of us that have been set free. Now, by set free, I don't mean that he waved his magic hand and took all the burdens away. That's Christianity talk. He showed me a way not to be burdened. He showed me a way to unload the burdens. He showed me teachers and paths and ideas and advisors of people that figured out how to let go of the burdens. When I say burdens, if it's financial, different people. If it's relational, different people. If it's mental or emotional, right? It doesn't have to be all from one person. But you can be without burden. Some of it's just how you look at it. You got to choose to look at things differently. Okay? You know what a free person never says? I'm overwhelmed. I'm just so overwhelmed. You know what else a free person doesn't say if you're totally free? I have too much on my plate. I just have too much on my plate. Every time I look, there's room on my plate. And then I get frustrated with myself a little bit because I didn't do something with it. I'm like, wow, I got all this room on my plate. Why am I not doing something more? But instead, you're looking at and focusing on the things you don't like about your situation. And you haven't learned how to be free. That's why it's the freeing of the mind teaching that we've been doing, right? Free your mind, Neo. So what was one of the great lessons in the Matrix that Morpheus taught Neo? One of the great lessons was when they were in the Matrix karate dojo. And he said, do you really believe this is air we're breathing? Do you really believe? In other words, you have limited your mind. Do you really think I'm faster or stronger in this scenario, this simulation? See, we limit ourselves. That was the profound statement Neo was taught by Morpheus. Your limitations are all in your head. Your limitations are all in your head. And I'm not saying that if you are, 75 years old, you're going to break the 4-minute mile. I mean, that's a physical, actual limitation. But how you handle everything, like the unburdening, that's all in your head. You can choose to unburden. You choose to take things on your plate that don't belong there. You almost need to do a plate inventory and budget just like you do with the money. Because there's stuff that you have in your money budget that doesn't belong in there. Like you find, wow, I've got all these subscriptions for things that I don't really need. Why do I have that? I haven't used that in 10 years. So get rid of it. Well, how many of these things do you have on your plate that belong to somebody else, but you put it on your plate? I counsel people every week about that kind of stuff. I'm like, well, why is it even on your plate? Well, because I just care and I feel so bad for them. And oh my gosh. I want you to hear this part. It's real important. I didn't say stop caring for them. I care about all of them. I care about all of you. I'm not taking your problem on me. I don't have to take it on me to care about you. I don't have to take your challenge that I may feel empathy and sympathy about. I don't have to take it on me. It doesn't become mine. That doesn't mean I care less. Actually, it might mean I care more. Because as soon as I start to take it away from you and put it on me, I'm taking away what you needed to grow. I'm not helping in that case. You want to be free? Free people don't have full plates. Free people are not overwhelmed. You know what free people don't say? I'm so stressed. You know what I never hear elders say? Any of those things. You know what he never hears me say? Any of those things. We've learned to be free. And that's why we walk around with the smiles we have and the energy level that we have and getting the things done that we do, because we're not burdened by stuff that doesn't need to be on our plates and everything else. You know what else you're carrying around? All your past. You know where my past is? In the past. You remember that from The Lion King? That stupid monkey smacks him right on the head. That crazy monkey, right, takes his thing, bam. He goes, ow. He says, what? He says, you hit me. Yeah, that was in the past. Okay? I mean, it may be a dumb analogy, but it makes the point. It already happened. It's over. It's done. What you should have been concerned with, are you going to do it again? I mean, that's what I would have looked at him like, you're going to do that again? Okay? Or, why did you hit me? All right? But the thing is, I don't carry the past around with me. I carry lessons from the past in the library of my head, right? I have a library of experiences and lessons learned that I can reference. I am not carrying around the past. A lot of that stuff was either terrible or victories. And you know what? There's equal amounts or so whatever amounts of each of them. And I can't live the victories that are already old, and I can't live the failures that are already, they'll keep me in the failures. I can't live on the victories. And if I try to live in the failures, I'm never going to get any victories. Got to let that stuff go. All right? Look, I talk the way I talk to you guys because I love you. I talk the way I talk to you guys because if I don't, you'll never hear anybody talk to you this way. And you need to hear it. Because you need to pick yourself up, stand on your hind legs with your spine straight, and walk. Okay? You need to do it with confidence that you can do this. You need to. Because the alternative is, I guess the alternative is not so bad. It's just nothing. All right? I'm not going to give you fire and brimstone. The alternative is nothing. Maybe that's what you want. Father seems to give you that choice. You want nothing, you can have nothing. But don't tell me you want the kingdom and all this other stuff, but you're not willing to pay the price, do the work, and that kind of thing. Don't tell me you want health, but you're not wanting to pay the price, do what needs to be done. Don't tell me you want financial. All the same thing. You got to pay the price, do the work. Pay the price, do the work. Okay? I don't make this up, okay? But I'm not bragging on me. I'm just telling you, I literally, whenever I'm not actually interacting with somebody, I am putting in, as input, listening to books, watching videos, or whatever, that is growing one of my 7 areas all day till I go to sleep. One of those 7 areas is getting worked on when I'm not actively doing something. In other words, when I'm not helping one of you or doing something, some sort of task or whatever it is, I am listening, I'm inputting. Okay? I'm inputting. And then when I'm actively doing, I'm trying to do what I inputted. Trying to do the things that were put in there. You know, maybe you're planning to go to the gym tomorrow, so maybe you watch a video about a workout you might want to try. Maybe you're doing something like I'm doing a little bit in the stock market. I'm doing some trading. I might want to see what people are doing to prepare for tomorrow's open and some ideas they have. Input to then take action, okay? Maybe I've been struggling with A, B, C, or D in one of the 7 areas, and I watched a video to help with that. I mean, I just listened to somebody on TikTok, probably was AI generated to make it sound like it was like, you know, one of the old-time guys like an Earl Nightingale or somebody, whoever it was, right? But one of the things it said was the successful people, they plan their night the night before their day out. You want to be successful in any of your 7 areas? Plan what you're going to do in that area tomorrow, tonight. You know what else he said? He said, don't do what seems urgent first. Do what seems hardest first. They always say that. Get the hardest thing on your plate off your plate right away. Unless it's time sensitive where it has to be done at a particular time, go after the hardest thing first. Otherwise, you'll never get to it. You'll always put something else in front of it and decide it's more urgent. I'm just giving you some of what I've learned, but really the point is, I watch something, listen to something, and now I'm excited to put it into action. By the way, these are not things I haven't heard already 1,000 times. But there's still stuff that I listen to. Like Peter said, there are things that you should know already. I'm going to keep telling you them just to keep reminding you. I listen to stuff that I absolutely have heard before, but some of it I still am not doing yet, or at least not consistently. Do you understand? All right? Reminds me, and I think I've told you this story too. I was in the commodities brokerage business. I was working in a commodities firm. And they had a guy come by selling his sales, motivation, training, development program, whatever, because we were sales guys. We sold, you know, brokerage accounts, right? Smile and dial, okay? And one of the guys in the office was like, I'm sure I'm just going to hear the same old stuff. I said, I certainly hope so. The guy looked at me funny. Why would you want to hear the same old stuff? I said, because there isn't any new stuff. You're just not doing it. So you should hear the same old stuff and figure out what parts of that you're not doing. If the guy's got all new stuff, I don't want to hear him. You listen to Jim Rohn, you listen to Tony Robbins, you're hearing the same stuff. One is older than the other, okay? One came before the other. You listen to Les Brown, you hear the same stuff. You listen to Brian Tracy, you hear the same stuff. I can name all these guys. You hear the same stuff. They may package it a little different with their own personalities and everything. I don't listen to them listening for the new, innovative, cool, different thing. I'm listening for, are you going to say it in a way that finally I get motivated to do it? I decide I'm going to do it. Because if you listen to enough of these guys, you're not going to hear anything new. Okay? Elder, have you heard anything new in years? No. Okay? Because we both listen to that stuff all the time. But then I still will share with him cool videos, which he'll almost always say, I already just heard that also. Because we're getting the same TikTok feeds. He's like, yep, listen to that one too yesterday. But these are cool videos making the same points in really cool ways of stuff we've already heard. We just like the way they said it. We think it may give us a way to say it when we're trying to teach other people. The substance is the same. The way it was said may be a little different, which is why if you listen to me when I'm teaching, I might give you 3 or 4 different ways to look at the same point because I don't know which one's going to resonate with you. Because one may not work for you, then all of a sudden I say it a different way, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. All right? In counseling, that happens a lot. I'll be talking to some people, and they'll have this look on their face like, and then I'll say it a different way, and a different way, then all of a sudden, oh, okay, got it. All right? And that's still, the substance of it was the same every time. Okay? But are you that serious? Are you that serious about, because a lot of you, how much time do you just do that is completely useless time? I mean, just useless. You know, even in your relationships, I don't know, maybe it's me and I'm terrible at social whatever, but I talk to people and have a really great social time when we're talking about what they're doing productively, and I'm talking about what I'm doing productively in one of those 7 areas. It's just not nonsense talk, generally. The only time we get into nonsense talk is if we start to talk about, as most people will do, is something like either entertainment things like music or TV or movies or something, or we might talk about something in sports or something like that. Then there's something that, you know, we're talking about it from our own, whatever, fan view, but that's a small part of our conversations. It always turns back around to, this is what's growing me. I like to talk about it. What's growing you? How are you growing in this area that I know you and I are both trying to work this area. I got certain people when it comes to wealth that I'm talking to, other people when it comes to health I'm talking to, other people when it comes to this or that, because I know they're working on that, I'm working on that. I love those conversations. Okay? I don't get a whole lot out of and nothing came out of it, nothing you're going to remember came out of it. It was just, I don't know what that is. So I'm not picking on you for doing that. Do some of the other stuff, though. Do more of it. Because I know some of you just need to talk about your life and your this and your that. I'm not picking on that at all. Just don't do it with me. Not because I will be mad at you. I'm just terrible at it, so you don't want to do that with me. There are other people that are really good at it. Do with them. Okay? Because I'm not against it. But make sure you're including in talking to people who are going where you want to go. Okay? Or already are there. Or they're not there yet because you're there and you're helping them get there. The law of 33%. That's in the Level Up class. I didn't make it up, but I quoted it. You know, you should be spending your time with 1/3 of the people that you hang out with should be above you, 1/3 at your level, and 1/3 below your level. You're helping the ones below come up to your level, and whatever that thing is, you're hanging out kind of like wingmen with the people at your level, kind of cheering each other on, and you're learning from the ones above you. Okay? If all you do is spend time with people at your level or below, where are you ever going to grow? All right? The ones above are there to help pull you up, challenging you, encouraging you, calling you out on your nonsense. Those are good friends. Oh, you want to be where I am? I don't believe you because you're doing this, this, and this, and that shows you're not really interested. Because if you were really interested, you'd stop that and you'd be doing this instead. And then people don't want to hear that, though. Call them out. Okay? Just call them out. I say, oh, if this is really what you want to get to, and it's because it's what I have, I can tell you what you're doing ain't going to get you there. That's not going to work. I mean, success in any one of these areas leaves clues. It's duplicatable. There's recipes. Okay? If you do what they do, you'll get what they got. It's kind of universal truth there, okay? That is why we're told, if for no other reason, that is why we're told to imitate Messiah. If you do what he did, you'll be where he is. I'm not saying go flip over tables from money changers. I'm saying walk this out in complete submission to the Father. When he says, look, anything he says to do, I do. All right? I trust him. And I do it with all I've got, with full integrity. You want to be where he is, you got to do what he did. That's why we're transforming into his likeness. You know? But I want to just be as a strong wake-up call. Every month I should just do this anyway. Well, I probably already do. I just got to get you to know that a lot of you, I'm telling you right now, you're not making it. Not because you can't, it's because you're just not doing it. I'm not just necessarily talking about people in this room. I'm talking about people watching online. You are messing around, playing games, goofing off, and not serious. And serious doesn't mean, be happy, smile, have joy. But you're not serious in your actions, in your decisions, in your choices, in your commitment. Okay? And you're not going to make it. Okay, I'm not the church. I'm not going to say you made an altar call, you're in, you got your golden ticket. No, you have to do what makes you worthy, right? You have to walk in a worthy manner, we're told. Walk worthily of the calling. A lot of you are still, on and off and on and off, right? That's kind of what the lukewarm is. I'm hot, you're cold. I'm hot, you're cold. You're like that stupid song, okay? You're hot and cold, you're yes and no, you're this and that, whatever. You're just not consistent. You're not, if he's watching you, he doesn't know yet where you're going to end up. As far as like, are you going to be hot or cold? Are you going to be yes or no? Are you going to listen or not? Are you going to stay in or quit? I mean, I grew up with some people that, man, I'll tell you what, no matter what you did to them, there was no quit, okay? There were people growing up, we see, not like the young people today where they never fight or anything. We fought with each other, okay? We didn't just use words and then feel like somebody bullied us. If somebody bullied you, you had bruises, okay? And I remember there were certain kids, they just kept getting back up. Didn't matter what you did, didn't matter how hard you hit them, they just had no quit in them. That's got to be you. You got to be the one. No matter how hard you get hit, you get up. And then you know what? The enemy at some point has to look at you like, I'm done. It doesn't matter what I do. The kid just keeps getting back up. So what happened to people like that? The person who was hitting them and everything walked away. Because there's no point. Didn't matter. They just kept getting up. You hit them in the face, they just laugh at you. Like, that's all you got? That's what you need to have, though, in life. Life, you got to be tough. Do you think, well, let me rephrase this. As we might try to imagine, which is very hard to do, but if you might try to imagine what you might be doing in the kingdom, which I think would have to do with some aspect of being responsible for some of the whole magnificent universe, right? You might be given some little piece to do something with. Do you think that it's going to take some strength to make decisions, be confident in your decisions, and handle everything that happens in that space you're given responsibility for? Do you think it's easy doing what Messiah had to do, dealing with all of us from the beginning of creation, and some of the things he had to allow to happen and things he had to cause and get involved in and everything else? That's tough. There's some tough stuff. Everybody in any kind of position that we know is an honored position will put in really hard conditions, had to make hard choices. We honor like the Abraham, Isaac, Jacobs, Daniels, whatever, but look at what they had to go through. Okay, Moses, all right? He was raised in a palace. Yeah, but look what the rest of his life was like. And then the people he had to deal with, and all the rebellion and the attacks and everything else that was going on. Because some of you are like, well, my family doesn't like what I'm doing. Well, nobody liked what Moses was doing. And they were supposed to be the people he just brought their butts out of Egypt. And they still didn't like him. And blamed him for every little nothing. Which, by the way, people do with me and Elder and Rabbi Tom, and we get blamed for everything. You guys got to own your stuff. Look, you can do this. I'm going to get back to that. You can do this. Don't say, see, when Rabbi said that, I knew I wasn't going to make it. I knew Stop that. He wanted me to tell you that so that you would make a choice not to do that. Okay? He didn't want it to be a fatalistic excuse to say, well, I see, Rabbi said it, and God says, what's the point? Grow up. Mature yourself a little bit. You can do this. End of story, period. Now, that's your choice, though. Remember, I didn't say you would. I said you can. You can. Now, you don't have to. You know. And I know that God, remember how I said to you that I can't care the way you would want me to care about every one of you because it would hurt too much to watch you do all the dumb stuff you do, destroying yourselves or whatever you're doing? I think God's the same way. He will be sad on certain levels when you end up in nothing. But he's already accepting the fact that a lot of you are going to do that. You know. You know who's really going to be sad? All of us that loved you, that were hoping to see you there. We're going to feel it harder. Okay? We're in flesh suits with a lot more emotion, a lot more feelings. You're going to break our hearts, or we're going to break your hearts if we're the ones that just quit. Because some of you are crying over children that aren't walking this out and are doing all kinds of self-destructive things. Are you any different if you're quitting this, but you're still living good lives, quote unquote? If you really quit doing, you're not going to be breaking somebody's heart? I know a lot of you cry over people that aren't here anymore. I certainly get it, okay? I don't cry over them. I'm not crying over somebody's choice. It's their choice. I'm saddened by it, but they made a choice. And by the way, I don't think any of them is worse off than some of you that sit here all the way through and you're just not doing it anyway. Good for you, you're here. But are you really here? Right? Physically, you're here. But are you here? Meaning, are you here for the reason you're here for? Are you here? Are you present before your King? Are you? I told you, you got to be honest with yourself. And if the answer is no, fix it. Fix it. Otherwise, if you're really not going to do all this, you might as well go out there and just do whatever you want anyway and just burn out that candle at both ends and then I'd be done with it already. Or just fix it. Okay, stop waiting to be rescued from outside. Instead, you can have some obnoxious little Jewish rabbi yell at you at 60 years old. You know, until you wake up and start doing it, hopefully. Which is no different than what we just read in Leviticus 26, where he says, and if you don't do it, I'll curse you. If you don't do it, I'll curse you some more. If you don't do it, I'll curse you some more. Oh, but he's so loving, yes. And just read how many times throughout the prophets, throughout the writings, throughout everything, he's smacking them right in the teeth. By the way, even look at Yeshua. When Yeshua is smacking the Pharisees and the Sadducees in the teeth, they're you. Some of you, that's you. You're looking at things through a wrong lens and coming out with a wrong answer for all the wrong reasons, and that's what he was basically addressing. Is you guys think you're somewhere where you're not. You think you've arrived and you haven't. You think you're owed something when that's not true. It doesn't have to be literally the same. So he may be talking to you. Or when James is talking about the fightings that shouldn't happen, or when Paul's talking about James, whoever's talking about I don't have, so we strive because I want but I don't have. Or Paul says I do what I don't want to do and I don't do what I want to do. And I mean, all these different people are saying all these same things. They're like the same battles we all fight with, struggle with. But you get lost. You know what you get lost in? You'll read Galatians when we're reading the fruit of the wrong spirit, the flesh, fruit of the flesh. And you go, whoring, I don't do that. This one, I don't do that. This one, I don't do that. You're missing the point. Okay? What's behind some of those things? Find things that you may be doing that might be similar that need to be fixed. And not just take it fully, literally, that exact item. Okay? Are you chasing after something you shouldn't chase after? That's whoring. Don't let's take it into the literal, right? Just like Yeshua says, hating, anger, wanting to hurt is the same as murder, right? Because you might say, I didn't kill anybody. I'm good. Well, on some levels, that's true. Good for you. It's good that you didn't kill anybody, that you didn't murder anybody. But you wanted to? If you wanted to, that's a problem. Okay? It's a problem. You got to get beyond that. You got to look at yourself with honesty. Okay? With honesty. All right, that's enough for today. I think I beat on you enough, but now it may continue based on whatever you come up and ask. So we'll see how that works out. All right? So look, again, all of you are here because you were inspired to be here. All of you are attempting to walk this out the best you can because you were inspired to do that, because you believe that it's the right thing to do. At least you believed it was when you started doing it. You got to examine yourself and be honest with yourself, but always remembering that no matter how ugly you might see something, first of all, don't make it uglier than it is. It just is what it is, and then decide to clean it up. That's all. Just decide to clean it up. Okay, almost every one of you has at some point experienced an unbelievable mess, some sort of destruction to your house or some other thing, and you know what? Ultimately, it got cleaned up. And it looks better than it did before, at least as good or whatever it is, and you cleaned it up. Now, when you first saw it, you're like, you know, you're a little overwhelmed or whatever, but, you know, you have now a memory in your library here that says, I've handled stuff like that before, probably even worse. All right? So with that, I wish you Rosh Chodesh Sameach, and we'll open up for some questions. Okay? Rosh Chodesh Sameach, Tom.
This is more of a comment about the level up. My family and I set out today to climb out White Oak Mountain. I had my girls pack their own pack, figure out what they wanted to carry in regards to the lunch, carry just the minimum because they're going to have to carry every weight up that mountain, had their hiking stick. So we set out. We had to learn to read the map. We had to find out the trail mappings, the different trails to go, and set goals. And it wasn't easy. We went over 2 miles, and I was very proud of them for making the goal. We made it to the top and had our lunch.
Which explains why they look like they're passed out right now.
Correct.
Okay.
They are exhausted. But they were singing and happy and skipping along the way on the way down, so I'm proud of them. And you know what? Mentally and emotionally, we're a lot better. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, look, you know, growing up, and maybe things are different now. You know, I had a father back in the day who liked to take us camping. Now, of course, we did 2 different types of camping. Dad camping and mom camping. Mom camping meant parking your car next to the picnic table at the campgrounds with the bathhouse right across from the parking lot. Okay? Dad camping was packing only what you would carry, hiking a few miles, and then staying there overnight or for the whole weekend. By the way, we did this on Mother's Day every year. Some of you may be like, what? Yeah, my mother loved it. A house of boys all gone, by herself, quiet, peace. Her favorite day of the year. Okay? 3 boys and her husband all gone. All right? So, and we were boys, which meant that we made noise and fought and rolled up and down places, knocking things around and beating each other up. I mean, like you did back in the 70s, okay? I don't know if they still do that anymore, but we certainly did, all right? But, you know, when we did those hikes, Tom, we had to pack stuff that we knew. We're going to have to carry it all the way up and all the way back and have all the food, tent, everything, including the tent and everything, because we had to stay overnight. And we weren't going to stop until my father found a spot, usually on the Appalachian Trail or something, that, you know, he felt was, you know, an open enough, clear enough spot to set up a tent. It was not a campground. There was no water. There were no restrooms. There were no showers. There was no electricity. There was just empty space that we cleared enough to set up a tent. Okay, no picnic tables, no nothing. And so, it helped, to have to be like, oh man, I'm getting tired. My dad was like, so what? Keep going. We're going. You're going to keep going. All right? You got to keep going. Now, it was easier in some ways on the way there, thinking, well, if we just could get him to stop somewhere, we could stop right here. Coming back, though, there wasn't anything easy about it because you had to keep going. Otherwise, you'd never get home. You had to keep going. You knew you had to finish. You didn't know where you were stopping on the way out, so you thought, well, maybe we'll be stopping soon or maybe soon, But anyway, Janet?
Yes. We did something similar last Sunday for Mother's Day because I love hiking. So I said, we're all going 4 hours. It was hot. They didn't like it. They were complaining the whole time.
By the way, if you really want to experience, camping, not the first time, but at some point, do it when it's freezing. Do it when it's really hot. Yeah. Understand how hard it is to do under those kinds of conditions. Okay? I mean, we did it when it was below freezing at times with the Boy Scouts back in the day, etc. And, I mean, it was freezing. Okay? It was really cold. But, you get the right equipment and the right type of sleeping bags and all the right things, and you can do this without too much problem, And then you learn to, buy ultralight things and learn how to set them up and everything else. Go ahead.
Yes. So anyway, love that. So I really appreciated that when you were talking about how we need to choose a destination and we need to be strong in our belief that we can get there. And I literally wrote when you said, we have to say, I am going to get to the kingdom. I am going to. I would like to go, or I would like to get there, or I might get there, but I am going, so that our words will carry us through it because we're believing and we're doing all we need to do to get there. And so I've never really talked like that. So now that you help us with that, I'm
all right,
really
we need to fix this. We need to fix this. I don't want you guys saying I'm going and that's it. I want you to say I'm going because I'm willing to do what it takes to get there. Not just, I'm going, and people just think, I'm just going. Well, because I deserve it. No, I'm going because I'm going to do what it takes. Okay? That's how I know I'm going. I'm going because I'm going to do what it takes, because I'm doing what it takes. Not I'm going because I think I'm special, I'm this, I'm a good person, that. Because anybody could just say, I'm going. I got a lot of people think they're in, and they're going. I want you to be saying, I'm going, and then back it up with, because I'm committed to doing everything that has to get done. Doing what it takes, paying the price, okay?
Right, with anything in life too.
I mean, you could have meant that anyway behind that, but I want everybody to make sure they understand that that's what's got to be behind it. You don't have to say all those words. You could just say, I'm going, knowing full well you mean, because I'm going to do whatever it takes. Pay the price, never quit, go through the struggle, right? Go ahead.
Yes, and actually that connects with the next thing that I wanted to mention, because 7 areas of life, and you always say, well, you should simultaneously work on all of them, but obviously there is one or the other that needs a little bit more work. So in the last 5 weeks, I've tweaked my diet, but it's not really a small change. It changed quite a bit with eliminating things that I used to have on a daily basis.
All right,
3 times.
let's hold this. What I may want to do on Friday, how many of you would be interested in sharing some of your victories from the 7 weeks that we just went through? Are there we got some people that might want to do that? Okay, good. Because I'd like to maybe have people share, what you got out of this Omer Count Challenge. What did you learn about yourself? What kinds of things did you accomplish by studying those 7 areas, So that sounds like something that may be good for Friday.
I can share that.
And I think that'd be good once we finish this challenge to get some feedback. Okay? And come on, I don't want you to say, well, I like the challenge, it was nice. No, I mean, did you accomplish anything? Did it change your mind about anything? Did it change your behaviors about anything? And I don't necessarily need all the gory details and all the private details, because there may be some of the things that are private, but just, I realized that I looked at this area of my life and I realized, I haven't been giving it enough attention, and I've started to make some strides, and I've seen this difference or whatever. I'd love people to hear, because some of you didn't do this thing. And I want you to hear what you missed. And because you missed it, you know what the good news is? You can always start doing the challenge this week, next week, anytime you want, okay? You can always start doing a 7-week challenge, but listen to the inspiration you could get from people who could tell you some of the victories they had and what they've accomplished because they focused on these things for 1 week at a time. All right, go ahead.
No, that's all, Rabbi. I just wanted to say that.
I just wanted to preventively keep not everybody coming up one after the other doing that, okay?
No.
Because Tom almost did that a little bit, then you are now, and I just want to make sure we're not just going there.
No, I appreciate the challenge, Rabbi.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Rabbi Tom, you want to come over here so we get you on camera? Yeah. Evan moved the, Shamash Evan moved the podium.
Thank you.
There's no button on the mic. Just come all the way up to your spot, and then the mic will be on.
Okay. Is it on?
Yeah. Okay, I'll turn it on for you.
Okay, I'm on. Okay, I'm on. I'd like to make a comment, if I may. At the leaders' meeting this afternoon, Shamash Gary, like you started out about talking things that were hard to do. And Shamash, I'm going to paraphrase what he said. He said, if you think you can't do hard things, but you want to, just start doing hard things. Just start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, there's somebody you may want to go look up. I think you might be inspired, not because I think you want to do what he's doing. I mean, he's doing something incredibly insane. But there's a guy who's got I think his YouTube channel is like Do Hard Things 365 or something like that, all right? And what he did was last year, and he's already finished that challenge. He's doing a whole different one this year. Last year, he started off on January 1st, and he did 1 push-up. Then on the 2nd, he did 2 push-ups and 3 push-ups and 4 push-ups, to the point where he was doing, in one session, 1,500 push-ups, 2,000 push-ups, and he could do them straight through, okay? And when I say straight through, meaning that if he stopped, he stayed in the push-up position, never coming out of the push-up position, never bending or stretching or moving, just staying in the push-up position. If he got thirsty, he lifted one arm, drank a little bit, put it back down, stayed in the push-up position. And I saw him do literally 1,000 plus easily at a time, and talking on camera and everything else. But the whole point was to challenge people to do something hard. And it's an incredible feeling you get as you do and accomplish things you think are hard. I mean, I've seen him do something with burpees, crazy stuff, okay? Actually, he was doing the burpee challenge at the same time he was doing the push-up challenge. I was like, how do you do them in the same day, okay? But he did. Now, the guy's in great shape, and he's been doing this, but you know what? It didn't start off so easy when he first started doing it. And you can imagine, some of you are like, wow, if I did like a lot of push-ups one day, I'd probably need 3 or 4 days off. No, every day he added 1. Every day. That got to be a lot very quickly, okay? A lot very quickly, okay? So just understand how much that starts to add up to, okay? It starts to add up to a lot. Now, so I'm trying to think, because that would only end up with being 365 at the end of the year. So what was he adding, 10 every day? Maybe it was 10. I think he was adding 10 every day. That's what it was. Because it ended up being like 3,000 at the end of it, all right? I picked him up. He was already like in the 1,500s. And his form was perfect, even though the last one is the first one. But I'm not trying to impress you to go do a bunch of push-ups. You pick something that will impress you because it's hard and you accomplished it. So I like the idea. Do something hard, challenging, difficult for you to do, and then feel the victory. Okay? All right, Michael.
So when you were talking about how you like to run with a full plate and your plate's not totally full, you kind of feel bad about it that you didn't fill up that time. And I've got 2 issues that may be related to one another, kind of revolving around that. And one is that I have to have margin for a lot of things because of the way that, my life is and my family's life is. And, oftentimes I end up having to move stuff around to the extent that sometimes I have to make decisions where there are no right decisions. And I'm just going to have to be somebody's bad guy at the end of the day. And, that can be difficult to deal with sometimes. So do you have any opinions on anything I just said?
Sure. Okay, look. Do what you have to do. Stop caring about how everybody else feels about it. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean don't try to minimize any adverse, responses from people, but just do it because you have to do it. You can still do it as nice as possible or whatever is necessary there, but you can't not do it if it has to get done because somebody might not like it. I'm certainly a perfect example of when I come up here and and talk to you guys. Clearly, I'm not worried about what you think of it, okay? I'm really concerned, did I make it clear enough? I'm not necessarily worried about was it gentle enough. As a matter of fact, I'm maybe concerned it was too gentle at times because I don't want to be that gentle when I'm trying to get your attention. Okay, and remember, the harder Yahweh was on Israel was when he needed to get their attention more and more. So he got harder and harder to get their attention. You do that with children. You punish them with something light, it doesn't work, so you keep increasing it to try to get their attention. But you can't be all worried about, but they're going to cry. Well, yeah, they're going to cry. You take away their toy, they're going to cry. You tell them they can't have something, they're going to cry. Why do you care that they're crying? I don't like that they're crying. It makes me feel bad. Well, that's your problem. You need to fix that. Okay? You should feel worse that you're going to not do what you need to do and not give them the discipline they need, and you're going to spoil them and mess them up. Okay? That's where we end up with the generations we have right now, because those of us that were disciplined so harshly decided, well, I'm not going to treat my child that way. Well, that's fine. There might be better ways to still be strong with them than maybe how you were treated, but we got a very weak bunch of children, starting with the millennials on up, Gen X was like the last ones. And then it just got weaker and weaker after that. The litmus test is, can they drink out of a garden hose when they're thirsty? Instead of crying, they forgot their water bottle. Do you know none of us died of thirst before there was water bottles for everybody? It just didn't happen. Okay? Anyway, Michael?
No, I think maybe I kind of went off the rails there a little bit. I was also talking about, I guess I was also talking about some relations with mishpacha and stuff like that. Like when something has to be addressed or something, because horizontal relationships aren't the same as vertical relationships. You need to get strong on me, that's a vertical issue. But, if two brothers are, having an issue with one another and they have to speak to each other and the message isn't kind of getting through, it's only so strong you can get before it becomes an issue.
And maybe that you can't be strong at all and it becomes an issue. Because people, okay, again, this has to do with the fact that, maybe we didn't mention this strong enough. It's all about your maturity level, okay? If you're mature enough, you can handle any conversation. If you're mature enough, you can handle anybody getting in your face. You can handle it. Not that you'd like it, but you can handle it, okay? You know why your family can't talk to you about religion? Because they're not mature enough to do it. That's maybe why you can't talk to them about religion, because you're not mature enough to do it. You know why a lot of people can't talk about politics? Because they're not mature enough to do it. Or can't talk about health or whatever. You're not mature enough to do it. Okay? Rabbi Tom loves to quote the verse that says, those who love thy law are not easily offended. Well, let's change that around. Those that are mature are not easily offended. Okay? Then again, it takes some level of maturity to love his law. Okay? But it's really about growing up. And so if you're dealing with a brother and you're having a problem, you guys may be having a problem seeing the thing differently and whatever, but you should be able to still have a challenging conversation, okay, if you're mature enough. It shouldn't matter. Okay, an elder and I have seen this. There are some people we can have those hard conversations with. Other people, we just can't. We try, and it falls apart. We do it anyway because it has to be done, but they can't handle that kind of a conversation. They're too fragile. Let me tell you what fragile is. Immature. Okay? It's not fragile. It's immaturity. Mature people are not fragile. Mature people don't break. They know they're not going to break. Some of you look at you funny, you break. Okay? Well, that person looked at me funny at services, or that person didn't say hi. They said hi last week, but didn't say this. And now that person used to be my friend, but now they're talking to that person. Oh, my gosh. why are you still in 5th grade? Okay? Because I remember that. Okay, it was one of those lower grades, and I was like, and I didn't get involved in it then because I thought it was dumb. Okay? I was like, seriously? But we are taking everything personally, and we're letting everything bother us, and we can't have the challenging conversations. Okay? I got a lot of husbands and wives that can't get along because they can't have a hard conversation, where one can look the other one in the eye and say, look, I really have a problem with this, and we may have to split up over this, and we can't figure it out. And the other person's just going to get angry and lash out and everything else instead of realizing they're being honest with me. That's a hard conversation, you know. And when I sit both of them down, it's hard for me to say, listen, you need to calm down and listen. And then the other person gets to talk. And then when they're talking, they'll need to calm down and listen to you when you're talking, okay? So I have to have them both, like, don't jump in, don't talk over. Let them speak honestly. Why don't we want honesty and the truth? Well, because we're not mature enough for it. And look, I hate to quote the guy from A Few Good Men, but we can't handle the truth. We don't want to be told the truth. I'm not even talking about the truth like Scripture, the truth like, I mean, just in general, we can't handle hard truth. The hard truth meaning something that would make you uncomfortable because it makes you look bad or you look less than or you whatever. All right? How many people do you know? Okay, now Dion's going to give up on standing there while I'm talking. All right? How many people do you know that you can walk up to and say, oh my gosh, you gained so much weight, what are you doing? What in the world's going on? Now that's a friend, by the way, who could do that. Say, oh my God, what happened? What are you doing? What's happening? You can't do that. Not unless you want to lose your friend. But this is a person that's not mocking you, who's trying to care about you. You know, now they may, as a friend, say, joking like, good Lord, what happened to you? Okay? But they're trying to communicate that they're concerned that something's going on, that you've let yourself go, and that this is not good. Okay? Not that it's not good because you don't look good. They just know it's not good. Okay? Or they notice that you look like garbage and your face and your skin and everything else is starting to show the fact that you're not taking care of yourself. And you look shot, tired, whatever. But you get all offended. What do you mean I don't look good? What do you mean I this? I remember having one person that I worked with at work, and I said to her, I said, I know you've been working on the weight and everything, but it looks like you put some back on there. I said, what's going on? And she said, you know what? Thank you. I said, what? She said, you're the only friend or coworker I have that actually said something to me and showed concern. She was mature enough for that conversation. Okay? I was a gym manager. She was an aerobic instructor. I knew she'd been struggling with stuff, and she'd been making some progress, and now it looked like things went back the other way. And I went over and I said something. Not critical, but showing that I saw, noticed, and she knew people noticed, but none of her friends would say anything. She actually appreciated it. Most of you wouldn't appreciate it. Well, I don't appreciate you pointing out that I'm fat. You know why you act that way? Because you really don't want to do what it takes to fix it. So you don't want anybody putting it in your face. Why you bring that up in my face? Well, because you're fat and you are not fixing it, okay? Now, again, I'm not picking on people and their weight and everything else. I'm just using that as one example. I mean, just as easily I can walk up to you and say something about you being stupid. And when are you going to be tired of being stupid and acting stupid? And Elder's laughing because he's heard me do that on a phone call and in person. Where I might say to somebody, I said, look, are you ready to stop being dumb? He's just sitting back there wishing his chair would spin. Okay? So, but you have to be able to talk to, and I looked at the person, don't get mad at me. You know you've been making these decisions that are foolish and they're dumb, and at some point you have to be ready to stop doing that. Okay? You know, Rabbi Tom had enough health issues when he realized, you know what, I better stop smoking. I better lose about 100 pounds. He didn't need anybody to tell him he was done with the cigarettes and fat. He knew that. And his doctors were telling him, this is killing you. And he has now outlived where he probably would have been because he finally addressed it. But you know what? Somebody had to tell him, listen, you better address this. Maybe it was his wife. Maybe it was his doctor. Maybe he just got it himself. But somebody, somehow, he got that message to make that difference, right? So don't be mad someone tells you. No, they may, as a friend, pick on you and poke at you a little bit, like, what happened to you? You know? But you know what? I grew up with a bunch of people that's how we treated each other all the time. That's our friends. We always mocked each other, picked on each other, and that was just life. Nobody got mad about it. And then we'd fake punch them, and they'd fake punch us back, and we'd have fun. Of course, the fake punch sometimes was pretty good. Oh, that was just a fake punch. Bam! You know, just a real, but it was just what it was. Elder, you had some of those too, huh? Is that why you're laughing? Or you're laughing because I almost knocked my trumpet over? Or both? All right, anyway. Dion, who's been waiting very patiently, I'm just trying to see how long I get you to stand there. Oh. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
That's nice.
No, go ahead.
Rosh Chodesh Sameach.
Rosh Chodesh Sameach.
I don't really know how to phrase this question, but it's in regards to
I gave you a lot of time to figure this out.
I know. I had it when I first walked up here, but you
Oh,
kept
sure. Put it on me
talking.
now. I see. It's not my fault your head got all locked up.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. It has to do with taking on other people's burdens. Mm-hmm. And you said that we're doing them a disservice if we don't let them figure it out, right? What does that look like not taking on their burdens?
Well, it's not about that. Let me explain what taking on the burdens means. You know what? My coming over to you and saying, okay, I understand what you're struggling with. I'm here for you. I'm encouraging you. If I have advice or ideas, I'll give them to you. I'll help hold you to that line. So you have a way to unburden yourself by having somebody else to share it with. It doesn't mean you're sharing it, meaning now it's my problem too. Okay? So when it says bear one another's burdens, any of you ever have a burden you wish you had somebody you could talk to about? And then when you finally find that person, you feel lighter? That's what it's talking about, okay? But don't codependent it. Don't own it.
Yeah, that's
Don't
the part.
partner with it, okay? But say, I'm here if you need to unload. If you need to unburden, unload, maybe I have some advice for you, but at least I could be here to listen. And that just helps a lot in itself. Okay?
Oh, okay. That's the part I'm talking about. When you just said, I don't even remember what you just said. the taking it on and owning it, and how do you, like, how much do you help that person? Like, what's your limit before?
I think I just said it very clearly. I
Well-
might give them advice,
right?
guidance,
Right.
suggestions. That's it.
I'm not asking the question right. I got to think about this some
No,
more
you want
because-
me to actually, you want to answer the question, how much do you actually help them? That is the limit of my help.
and
I didn't
don't
say
go-
I would do something for them or do something to them or whatever it is that would help. I said I would guide them, advise them, and make suggestions.
don't do whatever it is.
Don't do
that-
anything else.
Okay.
It's not yours, it's theirs.
Right.
Right. Okay, let me explain for those, and Dion, you can go sit down, but you can listen while you go and sit down. But listen, you didn't like the answer because it doesn't resonate with how you normally want to behave. Okay? All you blue people, okay? You all have such big hearts, but you don't know how to keep boundaries where you're not going and owning stuff that's not yours. And so you are the most easily codependented people. All right? Because you will easily jump right in there with them. I will, in a very red way, say, I'm here for you. I will listen. And if I have advice, guidance, or suggestions, I will give them to you. I might point you in a direction where you might find help. But I'm not doing what you need to be doing. I'm not sharing in the doing of what you need to be doing that you need to do. Okay? And so when your children suck you into that, which can happen to a lot of you who have that problem, but my daughter, my son, that's their problem. Why is it your problem? Elder will tell you right now, he says, don't come to me. Straight out. Don't come to me. You're an adult now. Go figure it out. You want advice and guidance and suggestions? He'll give you those, right? Okay? That's all you should be giving. If they need more, there are agencies and other places they can go to get that more, that are professionals at giving them that more. Okay? They can't pay their bills? Send them to the agency. They're in some sort of abusive situation? Send them to an agency. They got some sort of health issues? Send them to the doctor. Send them to where they need to go. Don't you take those burdens on you. Don't you make the doctor appointment. You go and schedule things. You tell them where they need to go. If they're not going to go, then they don't need your help, and they don't deserve anything. But if I don't do it, then that's what's going to happen. Stop trying to get in the way of all that. If you're going to do that now, you're going to always have to do it. Do you understand? Go look up stuff about codependency. Because a lot of you really suffer from a lot of that. And you get sucked right into it. Because you're like, but if I don't, they're going to die. No, they're not. Okay? But do you want that for the rest of your life now? And what about if you're that much older than them? You're going to be around forever to take care of them? What happens when you finally go? And now they're, you died at 80, and they're 60, and now they don't have any way to take care of themselves because you were doing everything. You're always the answer man and the provider of this and that and the other thing, and coddling them and codependenting with them, and they won't be able to take care of themselves. That's why I tell all of you, get your kids out of the house as fast as possible, train them so they can do it, and then they will take care of themselves. I remember there was a conversation I had with a couple that was struggling, and the husband, I don't know, somehow the wife got all upset, right? So she was going to leave him. And so she called her dad to pick her up. And the dad was like, no, you're married. It's your problem. I'm not coming to get you. You fix it. You figure it out. And if you get it figured out and leave and everything else, then you can come here or whatever. I'm not coming to get you. Okay? You deal with this first. Just because you're mad, I'm not coming to get you. You're mad, figure it out, fix it, or divorce it, or whatever it is. But don't just come and ask me to come and rescue you. Now, we're not talking about a physically abusive situation. The person was just upset. He said, well, then did you really deal with it? Just like saying to a kid, you're 25 years old, you live outside the house. Don't come to me when you can't pay your bills. Why aren't you paying your bills? Go to the shelter. You'd say that to your kid? You bet I would say that to my kid. Why? Because they should have known how to not be in the shelter. I trained them how to not be in the shelter. I didn't throw them out of the house so that they would end up in the shelter. I gave them all the tools, guidance, advice. We talked about, right? Guidance, advice, and suggestions so they wouldn't end up in the shelter. So obviously, that's where they belong because they made those choices. I don't know what else to tell you. You guys all think I'm the most cold-hearted, insensitive son of a whatever, okay? I get it. But that's because you're all bleeding heart, just open heart, whatever nonsense, and then you get codependented by everybody. All right? And then you wonder why there's so much on your plate, because most of it doesn't belong there. It's other people's crap. Give it back to them. It's not yours. Marlene. Look, all we get here is truth and honesty, okay? This is not your super polished, nice ministry nonsense out of some seminary somewhere, okay? With the nice suit and tie and the whole thing. I'm just going to talk straight. All right? No BS, straight. Look, how many ministries even say that? All right, go ahead.
Well, there's so many notes I took now, I can't find.
Sounds like you have the same problem as Dion. Go back and both of you work on it.
No. I kind of know what I was going to say.
Whoever's next, please be prepared.
I'm prepared. I have it written down. Okay, I found it.
She was lost, but now she's found. Good.
Yes, hallelujah. So you were saying earlier that, I believe this is what you said. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Like not being consistent is lukewarm?
Right. I mean, if you're going to be hot, if you're going to be cold, when you mix that together, you get lukewarm. Okay? Now, sometimes lukewarm just is, you're not really cold, you're not really hot, you're just kind of just being. You're just being. You're just sort of being, right? You don't have any really passion one way or the other. But some of you are passionate and think, well, I'm not lukewarm. Yeah, but then you're really cold or you're really hot, but you're not really one. He said if you were hot or cold, I could work with you. But you're kind of both. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold, sometimes you're nothing. You're just lukewarm. Okay?
So how does one, I mean, after you said that, I was really like, oh my gosh, I think that's me. And so now I need to figure out how to not be that way because I know that's a bad thing to be, of course. You know, it says it in there. And so, you know, I guess, do I need to concentrate on my motivation or my inspiration or leverage like we talked about in Level Up, you know,
All of that
how to
stuff.
leverage a why and all that?
Yeah, all of that stuff. But let me make it simpler, okay? Try to imagine a time when you were excited about something happening in the future, like in a couple of weeks. Like maybe your parents are going to take you on a trip or something, right? You're going on a vacation, you're going to go to some amusement park, you're going to go to the beach, whatever you're going to do. And so you got up really excited, you know, when you got to that day, you were excited about what was coming, right? And you're excited to get up every day on the trip and getting going. You didn't have to get a kid up early to go to the park and go to the beach. They were in the car before you even thought to go to their bedroom. Like, where are they? Oh, they're in the car already. Every other day, you're like, get up! You know. Because the parents are like, where are they? Oh, they're already in the car waiting. Let's go, Mom! Who are you? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going to the beach. Let's go. Going to the amusement park, whatever, right? So that's because the person's excited about what they're about to be doing. And they're excited about where they're going and what's ahead of them, right? You need to be excited every day about where you're going and what's ahead of you. Okay, if you didn't plan your day, what's there to be excited about? Because you don't even have an idea of what you're doing anyway, so there's nothing to get excited about, all right? I always look at my calendar. I know what's happening tomorrow. And I knew, like even last night, I mean, we just finished Shabbat. We had the weekend's not over yet. We have the leadership. I was like, I know I got a leadership meeting in the morning. And I know what I need to get ready for that. And I'm excited about meeting with the leaders and hearing about what's going on in their areas and sharing with them some certain things. And I knew after that, I had a brief window to kind of get a little food in me. And then I was going to come back here and do this and positively impact a bunch of people by insulting them and telling them they're fat. Okay, so, you know, okay? And stupid. But you understand, I'm trying to make a point here that I was excited about coming to try to impact you guys in a positive way, okay? And so, you know, that's what drives you, is having something that drives you. I know that might sound like so simple, but you're driven by what drives you. If you don't have anything that drives you, what's there, then you're not going to feel and act like someone who has anything going on, right? You got to have something you're excited to do. Look, a lot of you are not excited to go to work tomorrow morning. Well, then you need to find a different type of work to do someday so you can be excited to go to work in the morning. Or maybe be excited because it pays the bills that you need to have paid and it's being a part of some bigger program to get you the wealth that you need so that you can work for yourself or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Repackage it so you understand the purpose of it. Okay? Some of you need a second job working at McDonald's or Taco Bell or something. You're going to hate that job. But not if you know it's paying the extra stuff to put towards my side hustle so I can get my other thing going on so I can do this other thing. In other words, as long as you know the reason, you can get excited about doing the thing that you don't really want to do because it's going to get you that reason done. That purpose will be accomplished. Okay? And so I get excited to go do all the things that I have on my schedule because I know why they're on my schedule. I know why I need to do them. I know what impact they're going to have that's a part of my mission and my purpose and whatever it is that's driving me. You understand? Okay? And so that's where that motivation comes from. See, but if you hate what you're doing and haven't figured out a way to repackage, there's a reason for why you're doing it. And if you don't really have a reason for it, change what you're doing. Okay? Because nobody said work was supposed to be something you love. I got all these people say, go find something you do that love. No, find something that pays enough. If you can love it at the same time, good. But you can still love something you don't really like doing that pays enough because you know that's why you're doing it. It has a purpose. Hopefully for a limited time. If you plan this right and you're 25 years old, by the time you're 45 or 50, you could be done struggling with that. You're all like, what are you talking about? Well, you're going to have to work your butt off and make good decisions and decide how to handle your money and spend differently and have delayed gratification, all kinds of other things, but you can do it. And all of you are like, I got, like my son and other people that I talk to when they're in their early 20s were like, I don't think I could ever afford to live on my own, and I can't, because apartments are this expensive, and I can only make $20 an hour. Why is it you think you can only make $20 an hour? Okay? Why not think about making per hour what most people make in a day? Okay? Why not that? Well, that sounds impossible. Well, because you're looking at it from the perspective you are now as a broke person who doesn't think that you have any skills to make anything. So get the skills that get paid better. Okay? I mean, some of you are just, underpaid because of not the fact that the job doesn't pay you enough. You chose a job that doesn't pay you enough, and that you have skills that can get paid better if you go somewhere else. Okay? And there are people that I've encouraged that you need to go somewhere else. All right? Because you have bigger goals than that. Look, I have always, let me just use me as a perspective here. I'm 63 this year, right? A couple of weeks. I'm 63 years old, and I probably worked since I was like, 11 or 12, because we could do things like newspaper routes at 12 or 13 or whatever it was. So I've been working 50 years, okay? Now, I will say that in most of those 50 years, I worked for myself. And whatever I was doing didn't work or went off, fell apart in some way, I went and got a job I really didn't want and really didn't like until I made enough money to try another one. But I didn't hate the job, meaning that I grumbled about it and went with a lousy attitude every day. I loved that there was something I could do to refinance so I can try again. Even though I really didn't want to be doing that forever, I just did it because it did what I needed it to do, okay? So my attitude was always fine. I went to work with a great attitude, even though it was something I didn't want to do forever. Didn't even want to do it once. But it served a purpose. It was part of a bigger, that's the other thing, I guess, Marlene. Everything you do should be part of the bigger picture. What do I teach in the Level Up class more than anything else at the beginning? Understanding you have a destination you're already headed towards, or you could choose one. Well, you're already going towards something. If you keep doing what you're doing, you'll end up somewhere financially, spiritually, health-wise, whatever. All those 7 areas, if you just keep doing what you're doing, it's going to take you somewhere. What you got to decide is that's where you want to go. If that's not where you want to go, you have to change what you're doing so you end up somewhere else. And if you have to do some things you don't like along the way, I can be okay with that if it's working towards where I want to go. Does that help? Yeah. Okay?
Yeah, I see when I think back to Level Up class, the papers about goal and then how we're going to get there. These are the steps and then what it's going to cost you.
If you saw the papers, I called it targets.
Okay, I'm just remembering.
I only did that to mess with people because everybody calls it goals. I don't want you to think of it as, everybody thinks of goals and they set these things like pie in the sky. I want you to aim at something, okay? So I call them targets, all right? All right, go ahead.
Targets.
I know what you meant, but words create, the picture and the thought in your head, okay? Oh, I set goals. I don't want you to set goals. I want you to aim at a target, okay? Go ahead.
And so I can see that you're intentional about the steps you're going to take to get there. And every day you're going to do steps to get there. And then that makes you feel, as you track that, you have momentum and you feel that you're being intentional to get to your target. And so you feel like, that's part of the passion, is having the target and doing the steps to get there and knowing that's how you're gonna get there and being consistent with that.
Exactly. Look, let's use the typical example, the gold medalist, right? You take somebody who's a gold medalist, let's say in swimming or track or something like that, right? They had to put in the laps, the hours, the miles, for hours and hours, years and years. And I'm sure, as much as they liked running or swimming or whatever, they hated it after a while, okay? Because it can really get to be drudgery. I was a swim team guy. So we did our 4,000, 5,000 yards every day as part of swim practice, all right? That may sound like a lot. It's not a lot, but it's a lot, okay? It's a couple of hundred laps. And it gets to be mind-numbingly tough to push through all that unless it's because you keep looking at my time gets a little lower, I got a better chance at winning the medal, a better chance of whatever it is. In other words, you got to remember why you're doing it. The reason those people get so choked up when they have that gold medal is they know the price they paid to get that stupid little thing, okay? But you know what? It's not a stupid little thing. The character they had to develop, the growth they had to develop to get that accomplished is worth way more than anything that's hanging around their neck. They learned that they could discipline their whole life to accomplish a single task. What else could they accomplish if they did the same? If you could put that same effort into anything, you should get a gold medal in anything, whatever the equivalent is, business, relationships, whatever it is, your physical health, because it just takes that consistent effort, okay? And what do you think they did, these athletes? I'm talking about the ones that are athletes, not the ones that are doing things that don't require physical conditioning. But the athletes that had to be in physical conditioning, meaning that they had to watch everything they ate, how much sleep they had, and all the things that were happening in their life to make sure that there was a congruence to the target. We don't have hardly any discipline in almost any area of our lives. And so that's the whole point of the leveling up class. The part of the whole target setting, part of the whole transformation exercise with the Omer count is to get you to focus on something, okay? And if you're focused, you're willing to pay the price with joy. Like it says about Yeshua, he paid the price with joy, knowing what it would accomplish, all right?
Okay, so I can see now if I don't set my own target and do the steps that it takes to get to the target that I want, the target is going to be sinking ship. And so I need to
Not the target, the destination.
Yeah. The destination is going to be a sinking ship because I haven't.
Because what you're doing is already taking you somewhere. And it may be a sinking ship, okay?
So I think I need to, I think that helps with my why, knowing that I'm going somewhere, but it's not going to be where I want to go if I don't set my destination.
So the whole point of when you bring the word why up is that anytime you're struggling with what you really not wanting to do, but is part, just remind yourself why you're doing it. Why am I doing this? Okay? Look, you're all sitting right now in this incredible building, okay? And by the way, when I started doing all of this, not only wasn't there an incredible building, none of you were a part of it. Okay, those people back then are not still with the ministry. This has been a very long journey with a lot of heartbreaks, a lot of people coming and going, heartbreaks. Look, you build relationships and people leave, it hurts, okay? I'm not, a callous, cold-hearted person who doesn't feel anything. I'm sad when people leave, especially, there have been people who have come and left I didn't even know they came, because they never made themselves known and just sort of showed up a little bit and then left. But there are people I have relationships with that then left. But the work that went into building this, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm saying, but if I didn't do my part, this doesn't exist. At least not with me doing it. He'll find somebody else to do it, yes. But this doesn't exist this way. I did my part. But I did my part when it was hard, when it bore very little fruit, when it wasn't really looking like anything, okay? And that's the way anything you do is. You have to put in that work before you even see anything. All right? When we started, I had 3 congregations in Nashville, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. And the Nashville and the Chattanooga ones were long drives that ended up with like $50 in the offering box, barely paid for the gas. Okay? And hardly anybody showed up at them anyway. But it was part of what I needed to do for me to grow, for me to be doing his work, for me to be sharpening the tools of what he would have me to do. It was necessary stuff. And my wife would ask me something, why do we even go? Because it's part of what the training. It's part of the price to pay, okay? And so I always envisioned this. Well, we only have this now a couple of months. Okay, some of you will come down and move here. This is all you'll know. Some of you, since you've been here, you've only known us owning buildings. You've been at Dalton Pike and you've been here. You have no idea what we did before that. You've only been to Feast where the property was our property with the tent. You never had to go to another property and we rented the space and do all the nonsense that we had to do with all that. There were lots of prices we had to pay. There was years when my wife and I did all the work ourselves. Didn't have any staff, didn't have anything. All right? And I'm not saying that this is nothing about you being proud of me. I'm trying to just let you know, nothing comes without paying the price. Okay? Because some of you just show up here thinking, well, this just, there was a price paid. Lots and lots of hours put into this. Okay? Lots of hours. Now, I'm very blessed right now that rather than having to be doing everything all the time 24/7, Elder does a lot of it, which means I still do the same amount of stuff, but I get to multiply the productivity because I don't have to do the stuff he's doing, right? So I could do more than I could have done without him, okay? And then Rabbi Tom does a bunch of stuff, and I could do more because the three of us are doing stuff instead of just me doing it. But in the beginning, I had to pay the price and just me do it. But because I had to do everything, I know a little about every aspect of what we do. Because I did it all. Okay? Including leading the singing, everything. I did the liturgy. Everything. Okay? Because remember, I didn't have any children when we started this many, many years ago. We played CDs, and I stood up there with the microphone and sang and led the singing along with the CD. We were singing with Paul Wilbur, whoever we were singing with, okay? Whatever was recorded on a CD that I could use. Liturgy, you got me. I was the cantor, all right? And now we're very blessed. Especially I feel very blessed because I got a tremendous daughter who can do all these things, right? And a wife who handles all the children's program, which she did when we didn't even have children. She just had the inspiration to do children's stuff without even having children. Although she did end up with a big family that had lots of nieces and nephews, so she was good with children, okay? But I just want you guys to understand, you got to pay the price. The way you pay the price with a good attitude is knowing that it's towards something that you believe you're going to get to and that you believe is worth the price. Elder and I will tell you all the time, get another job, get another job, get another job, get 3 jobs, get 4 jobs. And you look at us like we have 4 heads. Okay? If you are single, especially if you are single and young, okay, I don't want any of the 60-year-old singles getting mad at me, okay? All right? But if you're single and 30, 20, 25, 35 even, single, why are you not working 2 jobs, like 2 full-time? Why are you not working 100 hours a week, 80 hours a week? Why are you not just eating, sleeping, and working and coming to Shabbat until you don't have to do that anymore? Because you can put all that money away and start building it into something. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why you're not. There's nothing social you need to be doing. Well, I want to get married. Who wants to marry you? You haven't produced yet. Go produce something. Especially you guys, all you men, Well, I want to make sure I'm available for the ministry. We don't need you. I got all these people who want to move here and want to make sure to let us know how available they're going to be. I don't have anything for you to do. Okay? You know what I need you to do? Get a job. Get 2 jobs. Take care of yourself. All right? I could do all this stuff myself. I'm glad I don't have to. Do you understand? Okay? But I don't need the help. If you are independently now wealthy and retired and you want to just come over here and be available for stuff, I'm sure we got stuff you could do. But you might not like it, though. Okay? It's like building maintenance and toilet cleaning and other things like that. Okay? We don't have anything, high statusy or whatever, like, enticingly like, look at me, I'm doing this. We don't have any of that. As a matter of fact, none of us has that. I don't have that. Elder doesn't have that. None of this is like, look at me, because a lot of people look at me and want to throw stuff at me. A lot of you watching right now. Yeah, you betcha I do. All right? Well, then why are you still watching? Nobody's making you watch. All right? But I don't know why you single, especially you single men, are not just out there just killing it. I just don't know. I don't know. What else you got to do? Okay? Sleep for 6 or 7 hours. Get some meals in there somewhere and work. And don't spend. Just work, put it away. Work, put it away. Put it in something that earns some interest, but put it away. All right? Learn how to do something with it once there's something to do with. Well, I don't know what to do. Well, get some first, then come and get advice. All right? Go find a professional or whatever. Get advice what to do. Okay? And not with those brokers that just want to take your money and charge you fees. But get somebody to give you advice that already is successful on how they did it. All right? Because I would go ask those broker individual guys, well, what do you do with your money? And they don't do any of the stuff they're selling you. I promise you a lot of them don't. Okay? Just go ahead and make it, though. All right? If your health is no good, why are you not working on that like all the time? You want to gain some discipline? Good. Do a nice long fast to prove you can actually stop what goes in your mouth for a little while. Oh, it's going to suck. I've done a couple of real long ones. It's not fun. It's not awful all the time, but it's not fun. Make sure you get guidance and study on it and know how to do it. Okay? So don't just run out and do it without getting some guidance on it. But figure out how to control and discipline yourself. All right? And then you'll have freedom. Because then you'll have put yourself enslaved to you. You've now controlled you. You're not being controlled by, okay, outside stuff. That make sense to everybody? All right, online. I know we've been going long here, but that's okay. Go ahead, online.
We just have one, Rabbi, from Michael, New Zealand. It's a two-parter. He says, Talofa and Shalom, Rabbi. Just one gleaning to check, please. Time is relative, almost relational. Respect this gift from Abba to receive it. Respect time by managing it, sticking by timelines, honoring his sacred time. The gift, efficiency, punctuality, more time to use wisely.
Okay, that all sounds good. I mean, I'm not sure I followed all of it exactly because the wording was a little, but I think I followed what you were trying to say. I think understanding that time is a limited commodity. They're not making any more of it. Okay, it moves. While you're sitting here, while you're doing things, while you're not doing things, it doesn't matter. Time is moving. Value it. Make best use of it. You don't get any more of it. You can't redeem it like get it back. So redeeming the time means let's stop making poor use of it. Okay? Let's stop making poor use of it. And if you have things you need to do, use that time to do those things you need to do. And I mean the things that are broken, like your health, your wealth, your relationships, whatever. Put the time in the things that need the time. Okay? I really need to clean out my garage. Well, that's not as important as fixing something else. Okay? Make some time for that, that's fine. But stop finding those types of things. What I mean is, I'm not saying don't clean your garage, but you'll always find a garage thing to do. Okay? All right? People will walk in my office. My office is almost always a mess. You know why? I'm not making the time to put everything away in whatever which way and everything else. Now, some of you be like, well, I don't care what you think of it. I'm using my time differently. Would I like my stuff to be put away better? Sure. I've had mostly the problem I haven't had enough space. Now I've got more than enough space, but I don't have anything to put it in. I don't have any furniture. So as soon as I get furniture, we will clean it all up. But just understand, I think in my mind going, I could spend 2 hours doing this, or I could do this. Which one is actually more urgent, needed, productive in the place in my life that's not working right? Okay? Cleaning out the garage has nothing to do with any of my 7 areas of life. All right? figuring out how to work on my health, my relationships, my finances, my spiritual life, or my community, whatever it is, that will make a difference. Okay? So as long as I'm spending enough time on those big things, yes, make time to clean the garage. All right? Make time to have your stuff cluttered and everything else taken care of and that kind of thing. That's fine. But don't allow that. So I'm not saying don't do those things. Some of you are like, say, Rabbi said I didn't have to do it. No. I said stop finding those things as your reason why you never do the other stuff. You can always find a task that seems logical and rational that it needs to be done, and it probably does need to get done. But does it need to get done considering that you have other areas bleeding that need triage? Okay? I mean, or I really should say you should triage all your stuff and decide which one is the really badly bleeding thing. Because triage is where you look at the different injured people and decide which one goes first. Okay? Is the garage your highest priority? All right? It may not be. Maybe it is. Maybe there's some things that are really happening that you need to address. But you need to really be, you know what? I would rank your issues, from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1, and just work on the one that's highest. Maybe the highest score is the worst priority, right? That's the thing. This thing is a 10, I got to work on it. This thing's only a 1, it's not that big a deal, okay? And if you're spending a lot of times on 1, 2s, and 3s and not on 8, 9, and 10s, then we have a problem. Does that make any sense? I'm not saying never do the 1, 2s, and 3s. Although I have a few that I've never done because they just sit there and my wife goes, why aren't you ever going to do this? I said, because it's just a 1 and I just don't have time for 1s right now. Okay? You may find it an irritance because it bothers you, so you think it's an 8, but for me it's a 1. I'm not doing it. It needs to get done. But I have so many things. And you might think, but Rabbi, you've been successful in this and this. Not to me. I got to whatever level you think I've got to. I'm looking at the next level. I'm also looking at time is less to get to that next level. I mean, I'm 63. I only got another 87 years, So time's starting to shorten up. And so, just think of it that way, right? And it's not even like, let's say I really had 150 years. I don't plan to be doing certain things all that time. I want to have fixed, figured out, settled, put into place things so I don't need to do certain things anymore. Does that make sense? Okay, you can, if you're like in your 20s, you can be by the time you get in your 40s or 50 at the latest. If you work hard enough at it and are smart enough at it, you can get past the grunt work stage where the money is making you money and you don't have to be grunting so hard at the money part. All right? But you have to put in the 30 years to get there for some of you, right? Or maybe faster for others. You can't get away from that. It has to get done. Okay? You can't get away from that. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Because I just keep going. So. All right, that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to wish everybody a Rosh Chodesh Sameach. I guess I'll close this in prayer. Father, we come before you, and Father, we just want to appreciate another month that has passed, the marking of time, and our ability to take that, or the opportunity we have to take those moments to look back and see how far we've come, where we've struggled, and what's still yet to be done. And so, Father, we take encouragement from that. We take encouragement from you that you called us because we can. We take encouragement that you expect that we will take the opportunity and will, not just that we can, but that we will go forward and do. So, Father, we thank you. We appreciate this all in the name of all names, Yeshua our Messiah. Amen. 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 All right, I'll come down here. What are you guys doing up? Yeah. All right, there they are. Very tired, but they're here. And hungry for dessert. That's why you're here. We're having dessert. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at the camera here. We're going to connect with our family worldwide. We're going to wish everybody out there a Rosh Chodesh Sameach. Okay, here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3.